Hello everyone, today I want to show you how I modeled an octopus for CG Boost Monster in the Closet challenge. Everything was modeled in Blender and I used Substance Painter for texturing. So at first I searched for a lot of reference image and I used my old octopus drawing as a background. And based on that I created a basis mesh and started to sculpting it with Tentacles. I sculpted some basic tentacles, and after that I added eyes and started to modeling eyelids. So I increased the resolution of Tentacles and smoothed tentacles and started to adding these donut shape details. And after adding it with my custom brush, I started refining it with Create brush. I started to adding some details that wasn't in my previous drawing, because it's a new artwork, so I was experimenting with 3D shape, and here I'm adding some shapes that are meant to resemble some muscles under the skin. And some more refining of shape. And here I started to masking details that I wouldn't continue, because at first I thought I will do it the way that was mentioned in some comment for my previous video, and someone asked why I didn't use that, and so I thought I will use it here, and then I realized that I can use simply Substance Painter and it will be easy. And here I'm doing automated retopology with instant mesh to export it to Substance Painter. I won't be animating it, so the proper retopology isn't needed. And here I UV unwrapped it and used for that UV Master Pro, because it packs UV maps very good. And I moved to Substance Painter to start working on texture, and I used some basic human skin texture as a template for the beginning, and started sculpting these details that at first I wanted to do them in Blender. And here I added some grunge textures to make these details more variated from themselves and to look it more interesting and more realistic. You can see that on these spiky shapes you can see there's a subsurface scattering on this model, because I want to look it like a skin of octopus, and a lot of more painting. I won't be painting her back, but because it won't be shown in the final render. Here I'm experimenting with a color, and I didn't know at first what color I will use, so it was just placeholder colors. I started adding more details for the skin to make it more different from human skin, and started playing with particle brushes to make some veins under the surface of skin. Mostly used small veins brush, veins and organic spread. Here I started to playing with some gradient to make subsurface scattering more visible on tentacles and less visible on the head. And after exporting textures, I moved to Blender and connected everything to PBR node setup. And with all texturing done, I started playing with light to have this octopus visible, so I put some light under the model. And I used Bow Brush to change a bit shape of tentacles to make them asymmetric, to make them more natural. And after that I started to modeling environment, and I made this wardrobe, and as you can see I make these bevels with custom bevel shape, which is very easy for details like that. And this wardrobe is a very simple model, and I was looking at some references on Pinterest while modeling it. I added sun to make it shine through a window, but it's sun lamp, but it won't be sun because it will be dark scene, so it's probably moon rather than sun. I modeled more details for my wardrobe. First UV unwrapping, and again moving a model to Substance Painter and using some smart wood material, and here I'm masking out parts that have to rotate the texture of the wood. And I added some scratches to make it more interesting and to have more story there. You know, maybe because before the octopus appeared in a wardrobe, there was some child eaten by the octopus in that wardrobe. I don't know. Yeah, and I started to modeling a room. And I left a window shape a hole in a wall to make nice shadow on the octopus. And after adding floor material, I started to adding some toys on the floor. And for that I searched for some free resources online, and there will be a link in the description for all that parts that I used. And here I model simple cardboard box to make more detail, and started to adding spider's webs that are done with tutorial from Gleb Alexandrov. It's very simple way of adding these spider's webs, but I'm not sure they are visible in final render because final render is very dark. Yeah, as you can see, I was experimenting with some dirt on floor and added more furniture to the room, but there are also free assets from web, but at the end I deleted almost everything because they are not visible. At first I thought they will make more reflections on my model, but I have too dark environment. And I also added some volume box to make a fog, and while exporting in Compositing I put every channel to export as a secondary file. And I played a bit with Compositing in Blender, but then I decided to make all Compositing in Affinity Photo. It's alternative for Photoshop, and I started to mixing channels to make my image look more interesting. And I manually adjusted fog amount in scene with my volume layer and my mist layer, and after adding vignette and adding a bit color correction, I exported it, and here's a final render. So I hope you like a final result. For me it looks very nice, and thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.